So the trouble with growing cabbages over here in Brisbane, subtropical Brisbane, in winter the weather's good on you, Bob. The weather's great, but they get slaughtered by cabbage moth and grubs and all sorts. Any pests, possums, you name it, it slaughters it. So this year we tried a few little hoops just made out of electrical conduit and mosquito net, the cloth. So nothing strong, but certainly fine enough to keep stuff out. And you can see it looks like it's paid off, so I thought I'd go and pick my dinner. G'day folks, Andy here from McDowell Manor. There he is. So we'll get rid of those leaves. I think we'll just throw them in the compost. Okay, so step one of our cabbage dinner. I am using a caramelised cabbage recipe, but of course I'm going to add a few things to it because I want to make it go a bit further. First step, we're going to fry off some bacon, render it down, get rid of the fat. I'm using bacon pieces, you may ask, because I found it in the freezer, and I'm a bit of a tight person. So I obviously got it on special, so I'm going to use it. There's no fat left on the bacon, it's all rendered down, so we're going to take that bacon out and we're going to shred the cabbage and put that and the onion in to caramelise. I've left as much of the oil and bacon fat in there as I can, even at the risk of leaving a little bit of bacon in. That's not going to matter, there's not much there, come on. Now we're going to, good, I haven't turned the heat off, we're going to add the shredded onion and shredded cabbage. Onion, we're about to do in. We're adding a little bit of garlic salt, not too much garlic salt, and I'm going to throw a lid on that now and leave it for about 20 minutes. Sure, the trick to good caramelisation to this is don't stir too often, because otherwise you will stop it from caramelising. So hence we'll cover it, leave it for 20 minutes, and then we'll check. If it's browning underneath, then we'll give it a bit of a stir and a mix over, and then cook it with the lid off. If it's not browning underneath yet, I won't do anything but put the lid back on and let it go for another 10 minutes. The variation of this is to turn it into a cabbage and bacon pie. So right towards the end you caramelise. When the caramelising's pretty done, you add a couple 4 beaten eggs in there, and then you reseal it and you cook it like a kind of like a big fat omelette then after that, but I'm not going to do that. Partly I want to see as well, I actually think this might be a good recipe for me to do a silver beet. So what I'd do is I'd do the onion and the stem of the silver beet first, and then towards the end I'd caramelise the leaves of the silver beet too, the same way we're doing the cabbage now. So I just checked at the 15-minute mark. It's not quite brown enough underneath, but it's pretty darn close. I'm only going to give it another 5 minutes, then we'll do a bit of stirring, uncover. So we're going to add some washed butter beans right towards the end. Not for any particular reason, except I want to extend the dish a bit and make it from a side into a main. Of course, if I had been a sensible individual, I would have planned this out and soaked a whole bunch of my own Madagascar beans this morning, but of course, no, I'm not a sensible individual. Hopefully you can see that, that's what you're looking for, it's well and truly browned. So we're going to give that a good mix now. I'm also going to add the bacon. I'm going to deglaze the bottom with a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Now I probably won't be able to show you that as I do it because I can't do it with the only one. That's what we're pouring the balsamic into, and we're going to deglaze. Probably 2 good tablespoons was what I used, and I'll just give that a stir around to move the stuff off the bottom now until it's deglazed, and then we'll continue the nice mixy. So that's the deglaze done. You can see I have a nice clean bottom and I wear big boy pants. I've done that all the way across the wok. I'm going to throw the bacon in now, and I'm going to continue to cook it uncovered. Won't take long. Increase the heat a little, and what I'm looking to do is kind of dry that mix off. I have to say it smells absolutely delicious. Nearly forgot to add the butter beans. Shh, don't tell anyone. They're in now. No one will ever know. Well, it's certainly starting to... Sorry about the noise. That's the overhead range. It's certainly starting to look the business. What I'm trying to do... Can you see that bubbly liquid down there? I'm trying to get rid of most of that. So I'll leave it go until the mix sort of gets fairly dry-ish. And that's when we'll serve her. Rosie often teases me about my inability, she reckons, unable to stick to a recipe. Well, I've taken to fooling her. I don't even use a recipe. There it is served up. I quite like it. That probably tells the story. I'm actually tempted to go back.